Oof. Thank you. Oh, thank God. Okay. Oh, new levels are getting rated. Oh, HangyKing. That's great. Okay. Good. Well, that's done. That's done. I don't have to touch this again. I thoroughly unenjoyed that, which sucks because I really so badly wanted to enjoy that. That was awful. That was a terrible experience. This level has so many cool ideas and executes about 50% of them in a way that I found enjoyable. And that was the problem. Because there were so many things in the level where I'm like, oh, that's really clever. And then I played it more and I'm like, oh no, I don't like that. That's not done in a way that feels fun and fair. It's done in a way that feels done, technically. And that's all there is to say about it. You know what I mean? It was really unfortunate. Obvious elephant in the room. The last robot is fucking brutal. The jump after the floor green orb, up into the gap on the ground, is awful. I mean, genuinely one of the worst, maybe worst inputs in a level I've played in a long while. That click blows, because if you're jumping into the ground, you don't have any leeway, right? If you're jumping up into a 1-block gap with a robot, or even down into a 1-block gap with a robot, but it's a block and not the ground that's above you, you have leeway, right? You have a little bit of leeway to fall in or overshoot or whatever. With the floor, if your hitbox touches the floor at all, you die. You know what I mean? You don't have that little inner blue hitbox leeway. Which meant that you either had to nail it or you had to get the weird clip up onto the block to happen. And beyond that, the gap itself is already terrible with the spike on the left. The gap itself is already atrocious. Oh hey, new levels are getting rated. I maybe should turn that feature off. I don't like that. That's just annoying. But that jump was terrible. The green orb at 94, I want to say it was, is really gross because it's entirely setup dependent. Because you want to hit the green orb sort of middle and a little low-ish is kind of where I had my visual cue. And to do that effectively, you have to figure out. It was not great. It really wasn't great, because the setup I found for it was to barely the 2 blues and 2 yellows, for that, I had to just barely fall past the flat spike after the 2 yellows, and then from there I had a pretty reliable setup, but that felt pretty random. And then the last jump is awful. The last jump is so bad. The last jump is genuinely just it's a skill check, but it's also effectively a luck check to a certain extent. You can get good at that last jump, but no matter how much I practiced that, there was always a chance I died there, and I kind of knew that, right? This could have been so much worse than it was. I almost fluked this level from 58, and then I did die to that last jump about a pixel away from clearing the last spike. It's just it's just not fun. And that's the problem, is if you want to put a skill check in the level, that's fine, but then make some effort to make it a fun skill check, right? And there are some levels that I think do that well, and there are some that I think don't. And I think this is an example of one that doesn't, where it's I'm going to put the hard ending at the end. Fine, you can do that. But it's hard for the sake of just garish. It's garish in its presentation of the difficulty. It's not enjoyable or fun or practicable or whatever. It's just garish. It's here is just fucking, here are just 4 absolutely abysmal jumps that aren't actually fun to pull off. You just have to hope you pull them off. And it's just like, ugh, I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that. I'm really not. Then we'll just work our way backwards through the level. The ship, well, I guess for now we will, because the next thing I want to talk about is the ship before the end drop. Or not the end drop, the end bit, the last robot. Oh, this ship is so sad. Most of the ship is fine. Most of the ship is fine. The first 4, like, portal gaps with the blocks are not. And the problem, and I feel like this might be a 2.2 change. I really do, because I don't remember this happening as much in 2.1. I knew it was possible in 2.1. I don't remember it happening as much in 2.1, and I do wonder if the new physics fucked it up somehow. I wouldn't be surprised with how much shit this update fucked up. But not Rob's, what am I saying? Oh, the gaps with the portals, Jesus Christ. The gaps with the portals in this ship part, you're supposed to, quite clearly, land on those blocks, like, you know, in between the blocks, and, like, collide with the blocks. But the problem is, and this happens a lot with, apparently this was sort of made worse because of the portals. I don't know why the portals do it, but they do. The ship would sometimes just not collide with either of the blocks. It would just fly through them, like clip through one of the blocks and just not collide at all. And that's one of those things where it's like, you can argue that that's difficulty, but I would argue that is just luck. Like, at a certain point, you just have to hope the collision works, right? You can sit down and practice it, like, hundreds and thousands of attempts and get really consistent at it. Find a click pattern where you don't clip through the blocks. I think the better solution would be the creator putting some kind of slopes there to force you into the block gap, right? That, in my mind, is the better, more elegant solution, and that would be a suggestion for HangyKing in the event that they do want to change this level. It doesn't seem like they do, but in the event that you do want to make it more enjoyable, that would be a great way to do so. I was really not a fan of that ship part at all. I really didn't like it. Well, that's the thing. That beginning of that ship part I didn't like. The rest of the ship part I thought was cool. I was like, oh, this is some, okay, pretty fair and fun, like, ship control gameplay. I was like, okay, definitely ramping up in difficulty from some of the rest of the level, but I was like, this is fine. It feels good and satisfying to pull off. Just that beginning of the ship was so unfortunate. And like I say, it's a really easy fix. I just would have loved to have seen that fix happen in the first place, and it really didn't, which was unfortunate. What else is in the level? Other major complaints. The duel at like 50-something with the ship and cube was just so janky, because the first big swing around here, let me just get a copy of the level and show you. Oh, a new level got rated. That's so cool. Shut up. So the first, here we go. This first swing around right here, this gap is fine. This gap is fine. I have nothing against this gap. Making it through that gap is fine. The problem is this orb is so high compared to the gap. Because remember, if you're doing this ideally, air quotes, your ship is going to be increased. Shut the fuck up. Your ship's going to be going through here, and then it's going to slowly fall past this gap, right? So this orb, in my mind, should have been there. You know what I mean? That's comfortable, right? There were times where I would make it... The fuck? Oh, okay, whatever. Whatever. There were times where I'd make it through this gap and miss this orb entirely, right? Or I would have to try to hit this orb really early, because that's the only frame I'm in it. Like, you know, I'd be falling like right here, and I have to catch it on that corner. But then the cube here dies, right? So it forces you to get real close to this top spike up here, which I did not like. Can you see my cursor? You might be able to see my cursor, actually. Let me look. Oh, shit, you can see my cursor. I don't need to click on things. Hell yeah. Yeah, not a fan of that. This dash orb is the fucking worst. It's on a 45, yes. So this is the gap you're going through, which, like, doesn't seem too bad. But considering that this green orb, if you're too low here, you can die to, like, hitting the left of the side of this block. It was just so awkward. It was so awkward, and then this click's not great either. The whole duel just is, like, awkward. It's just awkward, and it's not awkward in a way where it's like, oh, but you can get a feel for it. It's awkward in a way where it's like, well, hope I don't die to this thing, or this thing, or this thing. You know what I mean? It wasn't fun. It just wasn't fun. And that's the problem. It's like, if it was awkward, but it was really satisfying to do, I'd be like, well, fair enough. I'll put in the work. I'll get it down. You know, it'll get to a point. surely, where the fun has overcome the awkward, and that never happened for me. This wave part was mostly fine. The speed changes were just weird. Again, this is just a weird part, man. The speed changes were just a weird choice. I didn't feel like this... I don't really feel like that represented the song super well. A lot of this level does really good song representation. That's what I'll say. The gameplay I wasn't a fan of, but the visuals and the gameplay choices, like the way the gameplay looks, is fun. Right? There's a lot of really, really clever song representation in here, and lots of attention to detail in that regard, but it's just like playing it was just kind of meh. Just kind of meh. These two clicks right here are kind of gross, but they were mostly fine. That cube is like whatever. I don't like clicks like this, but you're going slow enough that it's fine. It's whatever. It's no big deal. What else was there? This was all fine. This was all fine. I don't like... You've got style. This is bugged on 240. Oh, is there a thing that you can't do on 240? Like a style thing? Oh, could you make it up to here or some shit? I don't know. I don't know. That's funny though. But the hitboxes for these things being this, I don't like it. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't. It's not a major complaint, but it's like surely you could have just used like a normal block, or just make this object but with something else, right? It feels like I say, it feels intentionally like, ooh, this is gonna be like fucky and weird, and it's like, that's fine. I don't have anything against that, I guess, but I would have preferred if these blocks and the other similar blocks throughout this part were just like the block with the correct hitbox, because this is Rob's fault. Like, this is entirely Rob's fault that that's the hitbox of that block. But again, you can work around it. You know what I mean? I don't know. It maybe that was an intentional choice. If it was, it's not one I enjoyed. What else do I not like? These four clicks are just kind of weird. They're surprisingly precise, and you don't have very good visuals for how they're going to work out. So I died to those a few times. What the fuck is this line? Wait, I just noticed that. What are you? Why are you here? Can I see you in the level? No. What the fuck? It's just invisible. Why is it there? Sorry, I just noticed that. Okay, weird. Weird. This part was mostly fine. This part I actually kind of liked a lot. These two red orbs are tricky because the gap you shoot through is rough. But they're fair. They're entirely fair, right? This part I liked. This part was cool. I didn't think it was like crazy awesome super fun, but like, yeah, this was a fun part. I like this bit. This bit was good. Most of this was good. Humongous style. Sorry, what? How do you get there? Toggle? Oh, do you like fall and clip or something? That's funny. There's like little style point things you can do throughout the level that I noticed. Those are fun. I like that. I like levels doing that. I encourage levels to do that all the time. What else is there? Like I said, this part was really cool. I'm like, let's have the same shape, and you can kind of use it for different gameplay gimmicks. I liked the big spelling out of the name. Unlucky. What? Could you just fall or something? I liked that. These three black orbs, however... Fuck these three black orbs in particular. This one in particular. This black orb is so tight because you have to. I mean, look at this. The second I leave that platform, you have to hit that, and the problem is there's like one frame at least where you can catch this. Really? That's not on this layer. Why is it so bright? It's not on this layer. You can catch this block. There we go. You can catch this block and completely clear this one and just fall onto this spike. It's so funny. Oh, excuse me, I really didn't like these three clicks. The rest of this part was pretty fine. Pretty fine. This green orb was tricky because it was setup dependent based on this blue orb, based on this jump. But fine enough. This pink orb I died to a lot, but it's a fair click. You know what I mean? Some of it's just like, that's a fair, hard pink orb. I can't complain about that. This beginning was mostly fun. You know, this beginning was whatever. There were some tough jumps, but it was fine. It's the beginning. I can live with it. The skeleton appears. Oh, the stretched out demon. I didn't even notice that got added. That's funny. Yeah, no, you know what I mean? It was Mountain Expedition. Shut up! Why am I on effects page? Okay, there we go. Oh my god, shut up with the... If I go back and... Hold on. Oh, whoops. Hold on, if I go back and forth... Sorry, I'm getting super distracted. Okay. Oh, yeah, 824 attempts. I wasn't a fan of this. I think this is comfortably Extreme Demon, if not for the... if only for the last robot part. Like, that robot's fucked, dude. That, to me, was Extreme Demon worthy enough. I will say I got pretty lucky with that ending. That ending could have gone so much worse. I only died... I didn't die to it from 0 today at all, which I'm so happy about. We will take that all day, any day. But yeah, wasn't a fan of this level as much as I wanted to be. I don't think it's god-awful, but there's some, like, little choices that were made that I thought were questionable, and some things that in my opinion, are just broken and need fixed. But I don't know if the creator would agree with me on that. I have no idea. But I thought I'd mention those on the off chance. On the off chance, yeah, you can see my progress loop there. So sad. Shut up! Okay. I'm gonna cut the recording here now. Bye!